If you like Anthurium, then stick around because this video is going to be all about Anthuriums. Hello, I'm Marina, that one girl that likes to talk a lot about houseplants, and welcome to Millennial Planter. If you like all the planty things, what you're watching this video, so I'm assuming you do, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, help propagate this community. I would absolutely love to have you. So I've gotten a few requests about doing my collection type videos, so like all of my Anthurium, all of my Hoya, all of my philodendron. So here I am, I'm slowly going to be making my way through all of my plants, genus by genus, and I figured why not start with the A's, with the Anthuriums. I want to say it's probably one of the smallest genuses I have in my collection, but they're like my third favorite genus. I really love Anthurium, but my pocket does not love the price tag. Anyways, let's get into all of the Anthurium in my collection. So I just want to do a quick rundown on Anthuriums and their care and how to take care of them. From my experience, 95% of Anthuriums really love humidity. If you can offer them at least 50%, they'll be happy for the most part. Certain species do require higher humidity. I would say species like Queen Anthurium, Anthurium morquinum, are just super picky, maybe like an Ace of Spades also. So they'll require probably closer to like 70% humidity. But a lot of starter beginner Anthuriums are more tolerable of lower humidity. I would recommend either like a King Anthurium or an Anthurium Backery. Those are really good. Anthurium Nervium, really good with lower humidity and just sort of like everyday conditions. Another thing I really like to do with my Anthurium is that I have them all potted up in a super chunky mix. Their roots are super thick, almost like noodles. They're that thick and they just really thrive off of a chunky mix, a nice chunky mix. I also like to do slotted orchid pots like this, plastic orchid pots. Now, not everybody does this. This is just my personal preference, and that's because Anthurium do like to be watered. They do like a bit of water to their care, and the orchid pots, the slotted orchid pots, really ensure that they're getting air and that their roots isn't staying too moist and kind of keeping up with that consistent watering, if that makes sense. So all of these holes are just ensuring that the roots get enough air and that they don't rot. The next thing I like to do, and a lot of Anthurium collectors do this as well, is topping their Anthuriums off with sphagnum moss. So this helps a couple things. This helps raise that ambient humidity around the plant because sphagnum moss does hold on to a lot of moisture. It also really helps with those aerial roots. So Anthuriums, like any other plant, like to put out aerial roots, and I have found in my experience, and once again, this is species wise, but a lot of Anthuriums do like that sphagnum moss around those aerial roots. And once that aerial root starts to come out a little bit, you get a new leaf. So it's almost like they need a moss pull in a way. And I'm not saying that your Anthurium won't grow without the sphagnum moss, but I do think that they grow quicker once they have that sphagnum moss around and they're able to feel a little bit more secure. I know that's one way that I have gotten my Queen Anthurium to grow, and she's just now putting out a new leaf, which I'll show y'all later. And that leaf is just phenomenal. It's the best leaf I have, and I really think it's because I started putting sphagnum moss around it. So I definitely recommend that if you're having trouble with any of your Anthuriums. Try doing that. You can even wrap saran wrap or some sort of plastic around the aerial root so that the sphagnum moss holds on to moisture longer. Also, when it comes to light, all of my Anthurium get a good amount of light. I use only grow lights in my house because I have a very dark house, but they do get a lot of grow light action, probably more so than what people would recommend or what I've seen them recommend. But Anthurium don't like to get super hot. They don't like the super hot temperatures. I would say maybe like 60s to 70s is like their area where they really like to thrive. I notice a lot of growth when fall starts to hit and the temperature starts to drop a little bit, and they really just don't like to bake. And then lastly, this is probably the most important factor in my personal opinion, and it's something I don't see recommended enough, but Anthuriums are super heavy feeders. I feed all of my Anthurium every watering. I'm usually a pretty heavy fertilizer, But with my Anthurium specifically, I really just make sure I'm giving them that feeding. I like to use Osmocote slow release fertilizer in my soil, and then I also follow through with a liquid fertilizer. So I kind of do the weekly feeding I forgot how they say it, but I do a week feeding every week. So every time I water them, I have fertilizer in the water. It's not a super concentrated amount. It's just enough to feed them and make sure that they're happy. And I really believe that this has helped the longevity of my foliage on my Anthuriums and also just like their overall health. So that is just some quick tips on how I take care of my Anthuriums. Definitely let me know in the comments how you take care of them. And if you follow the same sort of guidelines that I do. I really want to know people's Anthurium growing conditions. It's so different for everybody else. Also, I did forget to mention in my plant room where I have all of my Anthurium, and I have my plant room set at 50 to 70% humidity. That's pretty much where it stays at. Sometimes it dips into the high 40s, but it's pretty consistently like 50 to 70%. You don't want too much humidity because then you're gonna get mold, and this is a room. I don't have any sort of like cabinet or anything to keep them in, so they're just like out here in my plant room with my humidifier, and they do just fine. I decided to break these up into 3 different categories. I'm gonna start with my easiest Anthurium, then I'm gonna go to like a moderate Anthurium where they're pretty moderate. They're not really easy, but they're not really hard. And then I'm gonna go to my hardest Anthurium, which isn't many, thankfully. So let's just start. I'm going to go with the easiest Anthurium in my collection, hands down. And it is my Anthurium gracile. And she's very limp and very thirsty. I forgot to water her. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know I talk about this Anthurium all the time. It's Anthurium gracile, but it was sold to me as Anthurium baccheri. I still haven't figured out if they have the same name, if they're actually the same plant, but the inflorescence are the same type of berry, so I think they're the same type of species. It is a pendant Anthurium, and look at how long and beautiful these leaves are. I grew this from a seed, and it has just been so easy. It has pollinated for me. It's given me 12 little babies so far. I've gotten 6 berries each time this has given me berries. So this is a self-pollinating Anthurium. This Anthurium has just introduced me into the world of Anthurium pollination. So this Anthurium has just been so much fun, and it is so beautiful. If you want to get into Anthuriums, I definitely recommend this one because it is so easy. It can take a beating, it can take an underwatering, it doesn't care about humidity. So highly recommend if you can get your hands on one of these. It's just so fun. And when these leaves start getting big, oh, they're so beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Love her. Love her. Now my next one is probably my biggest Anthurium, and I grew this one also from a seedling, and it is my King Anthurium, aka Anthurium veitchii. So this thing, first of all, like, look at this. What is this growth pattern? I do not know. I kind of wish I trained the leaves a little bit to at least like stick up and stick together, because storing this thing anywhere is impossible. So it has officially its own throne, its own little plant stand, because I can't put it on any sort of shelf. But this is the newest leaf. Look at those beautiful abs. Wish I was this ripped, but in all seriousness, this plant has just not done me wrong. And I've heard from so many people how easy King Anthuriums are, so I know it's not just to me. It's amazing. I grew it from a tiny little babe over 2 years ago now, and it's grown so well, so amazing. It's probably not the fastest growing Anthurium I have, but the sizing of each leaf has just been so much fun, and I can't wait to keep watching it grow. It's given me 2 pups in my care. One pup, unfortunately, is kind of on the struggle bus right now. I think it got some sort of bacterial infection, and then another pup I did gift away, but super fun plant. I can't wait to get an inflorescence from it and try to pollinate it, cross-pollinate it with something. King Anthuriums I know like to be really established and mature before they start flowering, which is kind of crazy because I feel feel like this is pretty established, but I guess it wants to be bigger before it starts to flower. This plant is so rewarding, so amazing, and definitely one that I would highly recommend. I got this for $10 as a little seedling, so maybe you can find one that's affordable as a seedling and just throw it in like a prop bin of some sort until it gets established. Then you'll be able to take it out and just let it live in your everyday environment, because these things are just so hardy. So hardy. And then they do have matte leaves. They don't have velvety leaves like a lot of Anthuriums are known for, but I also just feel like that's the reason why this care is so easy, if that makes sense. But yeah, super cool plant. I love it so much. Look at these abs. Oh, the rippling just gets me every time. My third Anthurium is definitely another one that is highly recommended for easy Anthuriums, beginner Anthuriums, and it is Anthurium Nervium. One thing you'll notice is that Anthuriums have just the most bizarre growth pattern, and it really makes it hard to store them. At least with like philodendrons and monsteras, they have like an upright pattern, so it's easy to put them somewhere because you can just have a dedicated area and they can all just grow up. Not Anthurium. They just want to take as much space as possible, like a whole arm span. It's kind of ridiculous and it's kind of annoying, but they're still really cute, and Anthurium Nervium is just the cutest. I mean, look at those veins and that heart-shaped leaf. It's the cutest thing ever. I wanted this Anthurium for so long. It was probably the first Anthurium on my wish list, and I just got it last year, which is, I don't know, it's kind of funny to talk about, but yeah, it's adorable. I love it. Once again, another super easy Anthurium, probably my fastest growing one, and it is just constantly flowering. So once I get this whole pollination thing down, I do want to pollinate this. I've been trying to collect pollen from it for a while, but I just never get enough pollen. I don't know. Anthurium pollination is just a whole other world that I have been dabbling my toes into, and it's been fun. It's been a fun experiment. But yeah, Anthurium Nervium, highly recommend if you want a velvety Anthurium, because it has that beautiful sparkling, that beautiful silver sheen, and then it has the beautiful leaves and the beautiful veininess, but without the hassle, because velvety Anthuriums can be so difficult and really just give you a headache, but not her. She is just amazing and I love her. Next on my list is Anthurium crystallinum. This is also a really highly recommended Anthurium for beginners, and I actually have two. So I have this one that was imported from Indonesia at the beginning of this year. This is the newest leaf. That's the thing, it took forever for this crystallinum to put out a new leaf, and it's finally putting out a leaf, and it looks like it's going to be a really good size, so I'm excited. But the other crystallinum I have is quite a showstopper. Look at this. This thing is massive, absolutely insane. It blows my mind how big this leaf is. This crystallinum's also coming out with a new leaf. That's new, so I'm really excited to see how big it gets. This is just truly amazing. We have a little mama and a little baby. Oh, it's so precious. But Anthurium crystallinum, both small and big, are just so easygoing. I do say they do have a tendency to yellow really easily on the edges of their leaves. I have heard that a CalMag, calcium, magnesium fertilizer helps with that. I haven't tried it yet. However, my crystallinums haven't really yellowed too badly. The previous leaf on this did yellow badly, and this one is starting to yellow a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty okay. And then also my smaller one is pretty okay, but I do think that goes back to me just being a heavy fertilizer in general. And the Anthuriums are just really appreciating that. At least that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm telling myself. So yeah, Anthurium crystallinum, it's really great. Also another really good Anthurium for, I would say, pretty good ambient humidity. and definitely one that can handle being a little underwatered. I do let my crystallinums wilt a little bit before I water them, and they're doing fine. So that's always a big plus. And the last Anthurium for this category, for the easy category, would be my Anthurium Doriaki. So I know she's not looking the best right now, but that's user error, my bad. I actually am going to propagate her because she actually came down with spider mites last year and I had to cut off a lot of her foliage. So I just have this huge stump, which is, you know, pretty like typical for Anthuriums, but I think it would be fun to just propagate it from the stem and then have the rooted stump here. I might leave one leaf on the stump, but I haven't really done much Anthurium propagations, at least from like a stump. I usually get them fully rooted, and yeah, I just think it would be a nice little experiment. I heard they propagate really well in perlite, and perlite propagation is kind of my jam. So I think it'll go really smoothly, at least I hope so. And then I'll have 2 Anthurium Doriaki. So I actually purchased this plant on accident. I believe I had originally purchased it as a clear Nervium, but once I received it, I realized that that's not what it was, and the seller actually told me she mislabeled it, and that is indeed a Doriaki. And I believe a Doriaki is a hybrid, but this one has just been so easy for me since I got it. I got it as a tiny little plant, and I mean, just look at these leaves now. They're bigger than my hands, so it's super impressive. It's always putting out new leaves even when it's not happy, which is just, it's so sweet. It's just so giving, even in hostile situations. That just says something about life. Might not be the best life lesson, but anyways. Then also another plant that doesn't mind super low humidity. I think this tearing just might be more so from underwatering than low humidity, because I've had this Doriaki probably in like 30% humidity and it was still growing fine. So definitely one you should get your hands on if you can. And I feel like a lot of these hybrid Anthuriums are known for being really easy. So don't shy away from the hybrids. I know a lot of people want to go for like the true forms, but hybrids are just as beautiful. A lot of times they're cheaper, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to be way easier. So yeah, little cute Anthurium Doriaki. Okay, next we are going to go into my intermediate / medium category, and a lot of these I want to say are mostly just like user error problems. Me. Not necessarily that the Anthurium is difficult, but it's just probably something that I'm doing wrong. So if you have any tips on these Anthuriums, let me know. First and foremost, since it is just right here, I'm going to go with this brat. This is a hybrid, ironically. This is my Luxurians cross Radicans hybrid, and I don't know what it is with this plant. Actually, I shamed it on one of my plant vlogs, and now it's coming out with a nice, beautiful, healthy leaf. But I imported this at the beginning of the year, so that's like 7 months now, probably 8 months. And every single leaf it has tried to come out with either rotted or dried off. So that would tell me that it's maybe some sort of like inconsistent watering problem, but I just haven't figured out what type of watering schedule situation it likes. Do you want to be more watered? I guess maybe I wasn't giving it enough water. I could have been drying it out too much. So like I said, user error, but it is super cute. I threatened to sell her and now she's putting out a new leaf, so hopefully I will start liking her more. But I really do love these prehistoric dinosaur-esque leaves. I just think that type of foliage is stunning and something you don't really see in collections too often. And yeah, I just love a textured leaf. It's super cute, and that definitely gets that from its mama, Luxurian. This plant is just, it's all right for me. It's been just a pain kind of when it came out with that new leaf, because if you see, you can see all the failed attempts at those new leaves. I don't know what it is. I'm just gonna chalk it up to watering and call it a day. But yeah, Anthurium Luxurians cross Radicans. These next two I'm actually just going to clump together, and it is Anthurium Florum and Anthurium Vitarifolium. And honestly, these two plants are actually pretty easy, but I just keep messing them up. So I've had this one since, 2020, 2 years. And this is all I have to show for it. And that's because when it was a wee baby, I accidentally cut off all its leaves. Like, I had it in a little greenhouse, like those little cute greenhouses you can get from like IKEA or Amazon, and it has like the little door, and somehow the door shut on all of the leaves, and I cried. And then since then, occasionally my cat has gotten to them, and just something's always happening to the leaves. This leaf here, I accidentally broke off completely. I'm actually surprised the stem is still green. That's pretty funny. But I feel like we're finally on the up and up with this plant. I really hope so. It is really happy though, because I had to put it in this medium-sized Dunkin' Donuts cup and because it was root bound, you know, the roots are growing nice and healthy, so that does tell me that the plant is healthy. So hopefully I can get my act together and get this plant growing nice and beautiful. And I've just had the same situation with the Villanorum. It was doing so well, and it had these 3 beautiful leaves, but as you can see, my cat got to it and completely annihilated the biggest leaf, and that one, and that one. And I was really sad about it because I left it on the floor one time, and even though I'm in the plant room, she's always like sneaking in here somehow, even when I call her, and I'll check to make sure she's not in here. But cats just have entrances to secret portals, I'm convinced, and she's in here. So the Villanorum was just on the floor and she ate it. She's okay. By the way, don't recommend letting your cats eat your plants, but it happens sometimes. But it's coming out with a new leaf. Same with the Vitarifolium. And like I said, they're on the up and up, and I have their care down packed. So I think they're gonna be okay. I'll update you guys in a few months, and hopefully I will have at least 2 or 3 big, strappy, beautiful leaves, especially with this Villanorum. I had this one on my wish list for so long, and I got it in a trade from a really wonderful friend, and they just have like these really nice, strappy, velvety leaves, and it is amazing. So I can't wait to just grow it out and have a nice long one. Eventually, I would like to have all my strappy Anthuriums hanging up on my wall somehow, just because it's the easiest way to kind of store them when they're like this, and also that would just be really pretty. So my next one is going to be Anthurium Forgetty Eye. So I want to say this plant is easy because honestly this Forgetty Eye has grown really well for me, and it's even put out a pup or 2, but I just feel like it's never really truly thrived yet. I don't know if it's the growth pattern, but you can see like it's always just kind of flopped over, and it's never truly upright like I've seen other Forgetty Eyes. So I'm not sure how to fix that or why it's even doing that really. Maybe I should bury the stump a little deeper so that the soil can support this area more, or maybe because it's a seedling and it's still establishing itself, kind of, it's still maturing, and maybe once it matures it'll start to grow a little bit more. But yeah, Anthurium Forgetty Eye, this is a super cute one. It doesn't have that heart leaf shape, so it doesn't have any sinus. It just looks like a little teardrop, which is my absolute favoriteest thing about Forgetty Eyes. And hopefully we can just figure each other out soon, because I want to grow a nice big Forgetty Eye. They are just so cute, so adorable, and yeah, just so cute. One thing also that was really cool about this is that the leaves are thick. They're kind of thick, kind of juicy, kind of remind me of a Hoya, which is really neat. All right, let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Now, next on my list is going to be Anthurium Villanorum. Honestly, I should probably put this in my difficult category, but once again, this just might be a me thing. But this, I don't know if it's because I got it as a seedling, and me and Anthurium seedlings don't do that well, probably because I don't put them in high humidity. But we have been on the struggle bus for a while. At the beginning of this year, found out I rotted this plant, so I had to cut off all the roots and reroot it. And it's just been slow. On the previous leaf, I somehow rotted the foliage. I think it maybe was on the sphagnum moss and it just got all yellowed and crinkled. So I had to cut that leaf off, but I'm really sad because I really want this plant to thrive. This is also another really cute Anthurium, and I'm trying y'all so hard with this plant, but I'm almost tempted to just buy a bigger one and sell her. Maybe the shaming will help her grow faster. So listen, Villanorum, if you don't grow, I'm gonna sell you. That's it. But anyways, Ethereum Villanorum. I can't say that word. Also, I don't see a lot of people talk about these plants, so let me know if you struggle with this plant or if this is an easy one for you. And if you have a big one or a small one, because Anthurium seedlings can be difficult. All right, next, honestly, I probably should have put this in my easy category because this plant has been super easy for me, but it is Anthurium Magnificum. So this is one Anthurium I got as a little baby. It was a little pup from my friend's Magnificum, and I can't even believe how much it has grown. Just, oh, look at that. It's insane. This is such a beautiful plant, and I feel like I haven't heard too many good things about Magnificum, but it has just been one of my easiest Anthurium in my collection. This is the newest leaf. It's kind of weird looking. I don't know why. But yeah, Anthurium Magnificum is super cute, super easy. I can't even believe it has this many leaves on it. It gets a lot of good light. I try not to let this one go too long without watering because this one doesn't like to be underwatered. And I would say it does like some humidity. It does like to be in like that 50% category. Yeah, I would say this is more of like an intermediate, but it's still really easy. Once you figure it out, it is so easy and just so rewarding. Now my last and final Anthurium is the queen herself, Anthurium warqueanum. Now, this is my one and only plant in the difficult category, and can you see why? Can you see why? But we have finally figured each other out. It's taken 2 years, but look at that new leaf. So I'm afraid to touch it because the previous leaf I accidentally ripped and then I burned it with my grow light. But this new leaf is just so beautiful and so perfect. I'm not sure why it started to like crumple up like that. It's kind of making me nervous. But I had to increase the watering on this girl so much. I was terrified I was going to overwater her, and in fact, I'm still terrified I'm going to overwater her, but I feel like that has really helped her come out with this new beautiful leaf. I also have her aerial roots here, all wrapped up in sphagnum moss and a saran wrap, and I try to keep that as moist as I can. And once this new aerial root started to take off, this new leaf came out, and I have never been more proud, but I'm really hoping that it straightens out. Okay, but also, can you see those lobes? Because she's starting to mature, she's getting these really horse head-like lobes, and it's so cool to see. And as much pain and as much of a headache as she has been so much fun to grow. I feel like with each new leaf that has come out, she has taught me something new. Also, fun fact, this was my first Anthurium ever, and I won it in a giveaway, which I do not recommend getting an Anthurium warqueanum as your first plant because they are so difficult. And this is just not a me thing. I know that for a fact. I hear this across the board from everybody about how finicky and diva-esque they are, but I am just happy I have been able to keep her alive since sometime in 2020. I don't remember when I got her, but I feel like that's a big accomplishment for myself. So if you tend to be an overwaterer, an overcarer, a helicopter plant parent, then maybe this is a plant for you. Will she come out beautiful every time? Definitely not. But she'll be able to tolerate your overcaring, your overbearing needs, you know? So we'll take a look at her other leaves. This was the best leaf she had ever come out with. It had these really beautiful lobes here. This is the first time her lobes became really pronounced and big like that. And the whole leaf was perfect except for the edge. That was one thing. I was always messing up the tips of the leaves. But now the leaf is slowly dying off to make energy for that new leaf that's there. And then this was the newest leaf. The one that I ripped and I burnt on my grow light. So she might join the One Leaf Club soon. I don't know, because I just can't. I can't with these tattered leaves. They just break my heart. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll just leave her there to showcase my journey as a plant parent with this plant. But I can't wait to show updates on this leaf, and I just really hope that it does the best. I'm trying my darnest to keep the humidity up in this plant room so that this leaf can just do amazing. So wish me luck, y'all. Do you have a Queen Anthurium and do you struggle with it as much as me? Please let me know. And if you have tips, also let me know. And she's also by far my slowest growing plant. Like out of all the plants I have, the slowest growing one. In the 2 years I've had her, she's had maybe 5 leaves total. Which is very, she teaches you patience. That's what it is. Teaches you patience. Well, my friends, that is it. That is all the Anthuriums I have in my collection. I hope you all liked this video. I hope you all learned something, maybe a little bit. If you're a beginner Anthurium person, maybe try some of those beginner Anthuriums out because they are super easy, let me tell you. And let me know what Ethereum I should get next in my collection because I haven't added a new one in quite some time and I'm getting the itch to add something else. I don't know yet. So let me know in the comments and maybe I'll end up getting it. I hope you all are staying safe, staying happy and healthy, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!